Hey everyone, my name is Josh, and this is a Minecraft any% set seed glitchless speedrun, where the goal is to defeat the Ender Dragon and go through his portal as quickly as possible on a seed of your choice. While this run is less than a second faster than my previous personal best from a year and a half ago, I do a lot better on the first two segments of this run, and I think it's really worth talking about the places where I can improve and where I'm going to go forward from here. So this run gets pretty interesting right from the start. A creeper spawns in the spider spawner room. Now, this could be both good and bad. A creeper will generally blow up the chests like it did there, and also any spider in the room, which allows you to collect the items you need without much effort. The spiders can't push you around, nothing like that can happen. But it also fills your inventory with a lot of worthless junk, like those name tags, and spamming Q to drop everything did cost me a bit of time there. I'm also going to lose a bit of time at this gravel patch here. Ideally, you want to get a flint within the first 5 gravel, since you need 4 gravel to pillar out of this hole, and you just need 1 for the flint and steel, so you can get to the nether. Unfortunately, this run, it took me 21 pieces of gravel, so I know I should probably be resetting when it takes that long to get a piece of flint, but my current personal best time is not really fast enough that I need to worry about optimizing absolutely everything in the early game to see improvement. It's much more important at this point to just be finishing as many runs as possible so that I can work on knowing what to do when the RNG does finally go my way. Now, coming up ahead here, I'm going to kill some pigs, since you do need 3 pork chops to get to the stronghold. Now, I've gotten in the habit of killing these pigs right here, and I got really lucky that that pork chop didn't fall into the fire. I really needed to put that out quicker. But yeah, I've gotten in the habit of killing those early pigs, because when I'm at low health from the spider spawner, I want to be able to heal early so I can deal with the blazes more safely once I get to the nether. But here I had 9.5 hearts, so it wasn't really necessary to kill those pigs. There are some pigs coming up at a lava pool that I think are a bit faster to kill. But like I said, I've just gotten in the habit of killing those early pigs. I don't think it's a huge deal, but it may cost me a bit of time. You may have also noticed back there that I had 12 wool and decided to ignore the sheep up on the hill. I got kind of lucky and the sheep that was in my path did drop 3 wool, so I got to make 5 beds instead of 4. 4 beds is enough to kill the dragon, and as I lower my time I should probably eventually switch to only making 4. But for now it's nice to have 5 when I can get them. Making the nether portal is another place I really need to practice so I can lower my time a little bit more. There wasn't really anything wrong with what I did here, but it was just kind of a bit slow. 254 is really just an okay time for entering the nether, and while I did lose some time to the gravel, I'd really like to be under 250 most of the time for this split. The nether is one of the most RNG heavy parts of the run. In a perfect world there will be blazes right outside where the nether portal spawns in, but really getting blazes anywhere in this outside area is a pretty solid time. In a normal nether run though, like this one, you have to go over here, over this lava, and travel all the way to the blaze spawner, which really isn't that far away, but it's still kind of inconvenient. In the run I'm comparing against, I had to go to this blaze spawner and wait through 2 groups of blazes before I got the 2 blaze rods I needed. Luckily in this one, I get those 2 rods very quickly from those first 2 blazes. I don't even have to kill the third one, and I can get out of there as quickly as possible, and pretty safely as well. The nether split was the one I had the most potential for time save on, since it was very slow in my old run, almost 2 minutes long. This nether isn't so fast that I can't save a bunch of time. Like, obviously I didn't get blazes in the front area, but it'll definitely be a lot more reasonable to compare against the nether in my old run. Once I'm out of the nether, I do need to get some snowballs so I can take out the ender crystals. Nothing too bad happens here with the snowball collection, although I go a bit crazy with this uh, shovel. I did knock some dirt out of the ground and I missed that jump right there, which does cost a little bit of time. But more importantly, as my times do get faster, it's going to start becoming important to kind of limit the number of snowballs I collect, because you really want to finish the end fight with as few snowballs as possible. So ideally you're collecting as few as possible. All the time that I spend collecting snowballs is time that I'm not jumping while I sprint, so I am losing time a little bit on that, since sprint jumping is faster than normal jumping. Now at this point I'm also going to collect my leaves. The leaves are used to pillar up in the end when a ender crystal is too high, and it's also used, of course, to pillar to the main island since you spawn pretty far away from it. So those leaves go okay. I lose my sprint a few times, which is a little unfortunate, but there's nothing that big. It's not that big of a deal. Now, interestingly, this creeper here actually does slow me down a little bit since I have to put a piece of cobblestone there just to make sure he doesn't get me. And I also like to convert my blaze rods to blaze powder right there. I do that because usually the water is receding, although in that case, since I was messing around with blocking off the hole, it wasn't really much of a problem anymore. But since you use a pickaxe a little bit slower in the water, it's nice to wait, or to do the blaze powder then. I also messed around a little bit with the door there, and this part is pretty slow because I get very unlucky with mobs, and a skeleton will actually join me in this hole in a minute. There it is. So unfortunately, this part of the run isn't too RNG heavy, but having mobs spawn in here can be a little bit problematic. Ideally, you'll get an Enderman to spawn, but since obviously that's not something you should rely on, especially getting an Enderman and the good blazes in the same run, you want to be focusing on good blazes and not just getting lucky with an Enderman. So anyway, I did lose a little bit of time on the enter-end split, which is because of those skeletons and the zombies in those rooms. There's not much I can really do about that. You really can't avoid the mobs too much, but yeah, it's not too bad still. I entered the end just under 6 minutes, which is fine for getting a personal best when my personal best is currently 9 minutes and 12 seconds. So all I have to do is get a 3-minute end fight, which is very reasonable, especially when looking at this end. There are very few crystals, and you can see it right from the start. This has got potential to be a good end. So I get to take out some crystals immediately, and I decide to go for that bed right away because I have 5 of them and I want to get damage on the dragon as quickly as possible, especially since there aren't many crystals. Unfortunately, that bed shot was not very good, and you also may notice that I forgot to put a bed on my hotbar here. So that is actually going to come into play here as I destroy this crystal, because as the dragon decides to charge me here, I don't have a bed to do anything with. So that's a big mistake. With that, I do want to talk a little bit about hotbar management in the end, because managing your hotbar is actually a pretty big deal. Generally on my hotbar, I'd like to have the leaves somewhere. I like to have 2 stacks of snowballs for the beginning and maybe 1 later. I want to have my pickaxe just in case I need it to dig out of something, or dig out end stone if I run out of blast resistant blocks. And I don't know what I was trying to hit with those snowballs there. That really didn't need to do that. I like to have my water bucket. The water bucket is good just in case Endermen come after me. Obviously, I need my food. The sword isn't too big of a deal. The water bucket is much more important for repelling Endermen, so the sword really could be replaced here. But obviously, the bed and the blast resistant block is very important, and I like to have them in that configuration. That's just personal preference, though. So anyway, I have not very much time left to PB at this point. I need to get 3 hits off on the dragon. The first hit was very nice, and actually ignoring the fact that I messed up the first bed pretty badly, and the fact that I didn't have a bed on the bar the second time the dragon swooped at me, things go very well in this end. I think the rest was actually completely flawless. I have a lot to improve on in my aiming at the ender crystals, but I think that will come with time, and I just need to practice it, honestly. But yeah, at this point, there's only 25 seconds left to PB, so I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, because I still need to get 2 hits off on the dragon. But luckily here, the dragon actually swoops twice in very quick succession. So there he goes, dragon is dead. It's still going to be very close on the PB. It's going to depend on how quickly I get into the pillar, or portal, and very luckily, I pillared up to exactly the right spot and the portal spawned on top of me, so I did manage to PB by just under a second. Yeah, it's a good time, I guess, 9:11:86, but there's still a lot of time to improve on. Obviously, I lost 45 seconds on the end there, and that's very easy to get back. I still have a lot of time to save on the first split. I have about 15 seconds to save on the third split, and the nether split, obviously, I can also save about 30 seconds, so there's still a lot to improve there. It obviously it's not necessarily likely that it will all come together in one run, but multiple things can come together in one run, and that's where I'm going to be moving forward. I want to get a sub 8-minute 30 time at some point, and ideally, eventually, I would like to get under 8 minutes. I don't know if I want to go any lower than that, but I think as things move forward, I do want to go at least that far. I may or may not try to stream these or my attempts going forward. I think it might be fun, but I also don't know how well it's going to work, so but we'll see. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed watching. This was pretty fun for me. I'm glad to finally improve this time since it I was pretty unhappy with it before, and I'm much more unhappy well, much more happy with this version of the run. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll improve this soon, and have a good day. Bye.